Good evening, everyone. My name is Lillian.
I'm Alice.
And this is BDSM Gen Y. And this is Alia, as always, who's been asleep for the past 2 hours until we started recording. And she was like,
lap.
I can get on the lap.
Whoa.
So, today, we're going to discuss protocols. But first, apparently we can't keep to an update schedule because of our work schedules. It's kind of impossible. We're sorry. So we're just going to update whenever we can, and if you have questions, please feel free to email us or post a comment or something like that. I get up and I check, the show's email every morning, so you will probably get a response faster via email than you will via video.
Don't worry, though.
Yeah.
I will keep poking him so that we at least keep to,
We'll
a
try
couple
to
of times
stick.
a month.
Yeah, we'll try to stick to at least, once every week, once every 2 weeks. You will see us. That's what matters.
Yep.
Protocols. What are they? Well, to put it, succinctly, a protocol is something that one person does for another that's been outlined in the relationship.
Mm-hmm. Usually something that reinforces the power dynamic.
Exactly, which is usually what purpose they serve. It's to subtly reinforce the power dynamic in both a public setting and in a private setting.
Mm-hmm.
There are small things that you can do for your, submissive or for your dominant that help remind you of what you're doing and what you're involved with. Oh, you're unhappy that I touched your tail. Too bad. For me, they're important because other than the collar around her neck, they help remind me that they help reinforce what I am doing throughout the day. And it's another way that I can show my dominance over her. For example, I order for her when we go to restaurants. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they look at me funny. Don't care. But it's something that I can do that's, socially acceptable, quote unquote, and that is, a very common protocol for us.
Why are they important for me? Mostly because they're important to him. I had never been in a relationship with protocols before, so this was the first DSMS thing that I'd done that had very specific outlined things that were called protocols. So the fact that he found them important was what made me find them important. However, the other reason I really like them is part of what draws me to being a slave is there's no... Actually, fuck that. There's a lot of uncertainty about it in my day-to-day life, but in some ways there is a lot of consistency and certainty. And protocols are one way that I know consistently every day. If I do this thing this way at this time, he will be happy. Him being happy will make me happy. We'll both be happy. Life will be great. And it's really easy. There's no guesswork involved. It's like clockwork. And I like that. Not because I like routine per se, but because I like knowing that there are consistent things I can do without guessing that will always be good and approved.
Yeah.
And that really appeals to me. So I appreciate them for that. That gives me a sense of God's in his heaven and all's right with the world and everything's okay. So
no kidding. So we're going to discuss a couple of hours. Protocols are always, come up when you get a bunch of, BDSM practitioners together because we like to steal ideas from each other. Mm-hmm. And one in particular that I stole from someone, basically, was while driving. The submissive keeps a hand on the dominant's leg, just like this, while driving. And it's nothing more than a touch, and it's simply there, as a reminder of their presence. And they also use it to indicate whether or not the submissive is angry or annoyed or something else because they tend to forget.
They usually goes
the
away.
hand. And it's a good way to keep a gauge of that, and I really liked it when it was discussed to me, so we adopted it. Mm-hmm. Or one of our own, common ones are shoes.
Yes, I take off his shoes when he comes in the house and I'm with him. I either get down on my knees or I just do it from standing up position.
Depending on what she's doing.
Right, depending on what I'm doing. But I take off his shoes every time, consistently. Unless, for some reason, we're going right back out the door.
Sometimes she gets to snuggle with my feet.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Yeah, but that's not a consistent thing. That is kind of a treat. you know, a rare. Well, not really a rare, but uncommon.
Semi-rare?
Semi-rare.
Sorry,
yeah.
we play this browser-based game called Kingdom of Loathing, and there are these prizes you get called semi-rares because they occur semi-rarely. And so,
yeah,
we're
terrible,
geeks. We're
terrible
geeks.
joke.
I
Terrible
apologize.
joke.
Anyway.
You should.
Not only geekdom, but obscure geekdom. Anyway. And then another one that we do is I straw him at restaurants. I unwrap the straw and I shove him in his drink.
That's right.
And I do mine.
And
so.
It's funny because sometimes I'm very thirsty and she's not very quick, or can not be very quick because she's distracted by other things. And then I straw myself and she gets upset about it. She goes, and I go, well, too bad. I was
Then
thirsty.
I take the drink and I lift up the straw and I put it back in.
That's right. And all is right in the world
That's
again.
Right.
So, those protocols, there are many more. There are as many protocols as there are under the sun.
Sure.
They can be
anything from really
strict.
really formal to this slave cannot refer to herself except in the third person and must always address master as master.
Ooh, verbal protocols. Voice control is hard. Voice control is hard.
Yep.
Respect to anyone who can pull off voice control.
No kidding. Giving or receiving. But it's anything from that to the kind of stuff that we do, which is a lot more vanilla friendly and easy to pull off in front of parents or coworkers. Of course, we're a lot more casual about it, but that doesn't mean that they're not important. You know, they can be whatever you want, and they're as important as you make them.
Yep.
So
next week, or not next week, next time we record, which probably will be next week. We are going to discuss something that is very near and dear to Alice's heart.
Predators in the lifestyle. Red flag people, as I like to call them. People who exhibit sociopathic, manipulative, narcissistic, or otherwise dangerous behavior. And what to do, how to spot them, what to look for, and some certain situations that you can avoid putting yourself in in some situations. Sometimes you just can't avoid
It's probably
it.
going to be flame bait.
Look, sometimes you can't avoid becoming victimized regardless of what you do. But if you're in there prepared and you know what these people look like, there are definitely some ways you can keep yourself safe.
You might be prepared.
Maybe, just maybe. And that's what we hope.
So that's what we're going to discuss next week. Until then, I am Lillian.
And I'm Alex.
And this has been
And
BDSM Gen Y, and that's been
that's
Alia,
still
who's
Alia.
now off camera.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. As always, you can email us about anything. We will very happily respond.
That's right.
Good night.